MS is an unpredictable, often disabling disease of the central nervous system that disrupts the flow of information within the brain and between the brain and body. The cause of MS is still unknown. Scientists believe the disease is triggered by as yet unidentified environmental factors in a person who is generally predisposed to respond. MS involves an immune-mediated process in which an abnormal response of the body's immune system is directed against the central nervous system, which is made with the brain, spinal cord, and optic nerves. The exact antigen or target that the immune cells are sensitized to attack remains unknown, which is why MS is considered by many experts to be immune-mediated rather than autoimmune. Within the central nervous system, the immune system attacks myelin, the fatty substance that surrounds and insulates the nerve fibers, as well as the nerve fibers themselves. The damaged myelin forms scar tissue, sclerosis, which gives the disease its name. When any part of the myelin sheath or nerve fiber is damaged or destroyed, nerve impulses traveling to and from the brain and spinal cord are distorted or interrupted, producing a wide variety of symptoms. The disease is thought to be triggered by in a genetically susceptible individual by a combination of one or more environmental factors. People with MS typically experience one of 4 disease courses, which can be mild, moderate, or severe. MS is thought to affect more than 2.3 million people worldwide. While the disease is not contagious or directly inherited, epidemiologists, scientists who study patterns of disease, have identified factors in the distribution of MS around the world that may eventually help determine what causes the disease. These factors include gender, genetics, age, geography, and ethnic background. Although more people are being diagnosed with MS today than in the past, the reasons for this are not clear. Likely contributors, however, include greater awareness of the disease, better access to medical care, and improved diagnostic capabilities. There is no definitive evidence that the rate of MS is generally on the increase. Most people are diagnosed between the ages of 20 and 50, although MS can occur in young children and significantly older adults. MS occurs in most ethnic groups, including African Americans, Asians, and Hispanics, but is more common in Caucasians of Northern European ancestry. In general, MS is more common in areas furthest away from the equator. However, prevalence rates may differ significantly among groups living in the same geographic area regardless of distance from the equator. For example, in spite of the latitude at which they live, MS is almost unheard of in some populations, including the Inuit, Yakuts, Hutterites, Hungarian Romani, Norwegian Lapps, and New Zealanders, indicating that ethnicity and geography interact in some complex way to impact prevalence figures in different parts of the world. MS is at least 2 to 3 times more common in women than in men, suggesting that hormones may also play a significant role in determining susceptibility to MS. And some recent studies have suggested that the female to male ratio may be as high as 3 or 4 to 1. Research directed at MS. Scientists have begun to identify the sites or receptors on the T cells that bind to the myelin. The precise identification of these receptor sites may help lead to the development of more specific immunosuppressant therapies that destroy these sensitized T cells while leaving other cells intact. Much of the ongoing research in MS is directed towards finding answers to questions about the cause of the autoimmune response and the role of the immune system in the development of MS.